it's all change. When you move from those phases, every single time you move, it's change. And remember the reasons we don't like change, and I've put these up for us to remind you. Reason number one, we don't like change: lack of gestalt. So for the people that have heard me use this term before, lack of balance, lack of equilibrium, okay? And when you go through different phases, it's a change every single time. Okay, so you have to go through the transition curve, which I'm going to share with you again in a moment to remind you about what that is. But each single change is different. And remember, that lack of balance. So when we went into survival mode, we went out of balance because one day we were going to work and doing what we thought, and the picture of the outside world matched what we thought. And then the next day we weren't allowed to go to work, children weren't allowed to go to school, you couldn't go to the shop and everything else that was going on. And all of a sudden, the picture in our head didn't match the picture in the outside world. So we have a lack of balance, a lack of gestalt at that point, and we go out of whack. Now, then we started to come out of lockdown. And people would think, oh, well, that's great, it'll go back to normal. It didn't go back to normal, and it's probably not going to go back to normal. And to use the phrase that's doing my head in a bit, but the new normal, because everybody know what I mean by that, is yet another change for people, okay? And it can affect lots of people in lots of different ways. So as we're coming out of that, we're going into another change. And then, of course, once you're kind of doing that reset thing, you need to come out of that reset mode and actually then achieve peak performance on the back of it, okay? And there's nothing to say that you might skip backwards as well. So one day you might hit peak performance and then you might think, oh, I'm in survival mode again here, what's going on? So, you know, it's not just linear, you can go kind of either way. But the first reason we don't like change is that lack of balance, that lack of that feeling in the tummy that things aren't the way that they should be in our heads, okay? The second one is perceived loss of control. Okay, so we all are control freaks to a certain degree. If you are a high red profile, you are more of a control freak than a high green profile, for argument's sake. And either way, we all want some level of control over what's going on. And when things are changing very quickly around us, there's a perceived loss of control that goes in. So just bear that in mind, guys. Two main reasons for negative reaction to change: lack of balance, lack of gestalt, and lack of perceived control.